folks. Welcome to this week's show. This week we're going to be doing a special show on top 10 opening tracks, which should be quite interesting and very different. Back by unpopular demand, we've got Ian, or Dr. Teeth as he's known as, or AKA the professional Geordie. We've got, we've got Peter on the left, back by popular demand is Peter. And of course, we've got Rod on the top right-hand corner there.
Hi.
So it's going to be interesting in terms of how this show pans out. But before we do any of that, we're going to give our rationale in terms of reasons, in terms of why we've chosen certain tracks. So I'm going to start for once, and I'm going to explain my reasons behind the choices I've got. So I'm going to openly put it out there. I think there are some songs that are better than some of the choices that I've chosen. But I think some of the songs are so either define an album or an era or a new genre, or they just mean so much to me personally. And I've gone with them. And I've also cut down on the amount of punk rock choices that I've got because I could have done a top 10 with punk
Yes.
rock. So
Suck it in.
I've removed some of them. So I do apologize. And at the end, when we do our honorable mentions, I'll mention some of these incredible openers. And some songs I'm amazed I forgot. I can't get in. But there we have it. Ian, how about your choices?
I've ditched loads of classics, but I've tried not much like yourself, not to have too many similar. I've tried to make it a bit more diverse a choice, and stuck the odd like jazz, some folk, rock, punk, a bit of everything really, just to make it not boring,
Yeah.
Well, I hope it's not boring anyway.
Peter,
But,
oh, sorry, Ian, go on.
No.
Peter?
Yeah, well, like yourselves, I tried not to sort of keep it in one vein, trying to move it all around a bit, because there are so many, great opening tracks. But yeah, then some of the criteria I used were like it had to sort of define the album.
Yeah.
So I stuck with that. And then like I had to really love kind of the whole album, really.
Yeah, I think that's the route I went down.
If it was like one good track on a dud album, then there's no good. It had to be really sort of, really personal as well, So yeah, that's kind of the criteria I used.
Yeah, we're all singing from the same hymn sheet, I think. Sounds it. Rod, how about yourself then?
I'm not sure. I might be a bit different in that last point, in the sense that whether it was part of a good album or not, I'd have nothing to. That wouldn't come into my thinking whatsoever. If the album was shit, excuse me, and but that track was ace and I loved it, then
right.
I loved it.
Yeah, I've done the same as that.
But there are other examples where the opening track of what is an otherwise ace album, is also a thing. It's more, mine's pretty instinctive, I think, and there is some punk in there because it's my era. Although it's quite eclectic, I think.
Yeah,
there were some classics that I left out.
Yeah, there's a few I've left out because I've heard them so many times.
Yeah,
it's like just overplay, and you think, well, it's brilliant.
And they are overplayed. A lot of old tracks that are classics. You think, well, would I listen to that again, or do I listen to it anymore? Even though it's, I think what I did was I did go through them at the end, and the 10 I picked are ones that are either so part of me that I couldn't leave them out for whatever reason, like instinctively part of me, or I still listen to them now, regardless of whether they were, 2000 Summit or 1971. I still listen to them. But that's probably the criteria, I'd say, mainly.
Oh, that's cool. That's really, really cool. Right then, Dr. Teeth, we're going to go with you first then.
To kick off with, I've gone folky. I'm not really too much into folk, but I do like the odd band like Fairport Convention and Bellowhead, things that grab me. Think bands that are a bit different, a bit edgy. Well, and I've gone for Fairport Convention, Come All Ye from Legion Leaf, which I absolutely love. It's Sandy Denny that does it for me. Like I love her voice.
Beautiful.
And she gives this whole album something extra, you know. She's got such a it can be a really sweet voice, but then really powerful as well. You know, it's she's got great range. And is it Richard Thompson that's on guitar?
Richard Thompson, yeah.
I just think it's like a rallying call for the whole album. It's a brilliant album, and I think this is one of the best one of the best songs on the album. But I think it does. There are better songs on the album, but I do really love this album. So yeah, that's my first track.
Great choice. Peter, how about yourself? Then what's your number 10?
Sorry about that, by the way. My iPad has decided to plummet.
Nobody noticed.
Oh dear. Right, my number 10 is Singapore from Rain Dogs by Tom Waits. You know, this was my introduction to Tom Waits. You know, and I think it was the lyrics that took me first of all. I'm like, what the hell is he going on about? And then I'd never heard anything that grubby. You know, I'd never heard sort of that kind of dirty blues before. You know, it was just totally new to me. And also his voice, you know, the first time you hear his voice is quite a shock, you know, like what the hell is this, you know? It just really sort of blew my mind, and I just totally fell in love with Rain Dogs and was obsessed with it for quite a while. But it is Singapore, the way it opens that album, you know, it just like, you're like, here we go, we are off. This is an intro track without being just an intro, you know. And it sets the stall out for the whole album. Perfect.
Brilliant. What a choice. Rod, what have you got?
Yeah, mine is a bit more mainstream and less left field than the first two. Mine's my favorite David Bowie album is Hunky Dory, and he's got loads of Ace albums. But Changes is track one, isn't it? And
what a track, yeah.
It's just an undeniably classic track. You know, the variety of it, you know, the freshness of it. That whole album is very eclectic anyway. You know, Life on Mars, the orchestration, some of the tracks on that album, it's just a great album. And that as an opener, you know, it's just the jazzy piano. It's jazzy, it's bluesy, it's kind of poppy. It's all of these strange amalgam of things that all work together. It's been covered by loads of people. It's just an undeniably fantastic song by one of the greatest artists of all time.
What a great choice. And Rick Wakeman.
It could have been a bit higher, but it had to be in the 10 somewhere anyway.
Brilliant. Well, we already have a song that's already been mentioned, which I'm really surprised at. I've gone number 10, Singapore. So there we go. I've got Singapore.
That's a surprise.
And I've got written a fantasy type lyric about a sailor. Gothic imagery, it's mixed with Alice in Wonderland sort of imagery as well, which he sort of comes back later on when he does the Alice album. It's brilliant. It's dark. It's got that sort of the mad narration. The lyrics are absolutely hilarious. They're really, really funny. It's a remarkable song. It's got a Captain Beefheart style, of course, as well. He's clearly influenced by Beefheart, but it's absolutely brilliant from a remarkable album. So yeah, I've got that. I was going to switch it there, and I was going to switch it for Watcher of the Skies there by Genesis, but no, I thought I'll stick to my list. And so my number 10 was Singapore, Tom Waits, same as Peter. So
good choice.
Good taste. Dr. Teeth, what have you got in it? Number 9.
Dr. Teeth is pleased he picked this one because he was gonna put number 9 as Singapore. It was gonna be Singapore or somewhere, but I've gone for this one, which is Alice. from the album Alice.
Yeah.
I think it's 2002. It's an absolutely beautiful song. It's like melancholic, longing, haunting, with the gravelly vocals you were talking about. It's got a late night jazz feel to it, alto sax vibes, bass, and brush drums. But it's so minimal, it's just little touches everywhere that make it so atmospheric. It sounds like it's a kind of lost love song, or possibly his woman's drowned at sea or something. There's lots of references to water and ice, and the wordplay is just amazing, as it normally is with him. Typically, the line arithmetic, turn the hands back on the clock. I just love stuff like that. So yeah, I'm really made up. I chose Alice instead of Singapore, just because you've covered it already.
Oh, great choice. I mean, there's a few there, and his version somewhere is amazing. Peter, what have you got at number 9?
I've got "Fear is a Man's Best Friend" from Fear by John Cale. Again, this is one of the first John Cale tracks that I really got into, and I think it was his first, other than after Fragments for a Rainy Season, the acoustic album. This was the first album that I picked up, and I mean, that's just such a strong way to open any album, and no one does that sort of piano and strings thing like Cale, and also I hadn't sort of come across that experimental use of piano and strings that he does so well before. So again, it was an introduction and the first track on that album, which for me is a perfect album, and it just sets it out so well. And it starts as just a simple standard structure song and then descends into complete chaos with him screaming of fear is a man's best friend over and over. And yeah, just like I knew he was quite mad and quite a maverick, because I've actually realized that he'd produced like 3 of the albums that are on, or 3 of the tracks that are on my list. So yeah, he's never far from my heart, John Cale, and yeah, this was kind of where it began, and the opening track to a great album. Yeah, that's it. Love it.
Terrific choice. Again, we're out there at the minute. Rod, what have you got at number 9?
And number 9, I've got which could be in danger of being one of those ones that's overplayed due to Stranger Things, but I've got "Running Up That Hill" by Kate Bush.
That's brilliant.
Which, Kate Bush is an artist again I love, and I know it's a mainstream song of hers, but great songs are great songs, and whether they've been picked up by Stranger Things like Spellbound was and whatever, it doesn't make them a bad song just because some teenager decides to popularize it. And
I love all that. I love,
but then it brought her to attention of people who didn't know who she was. So
yeah.
that's only a plus, isn't it? And
yeah.
just the whole, she's one of those people who can, like Radiohead and Bowie, who can. It's one of the hardest things is to be mainstream and critically acclaimed at the highest level, and straddle both those things and succeed massively at both ends of the spectrum. It's one of the hardest things to do, in my opinion. And Kate Bush is up there with anyone who can do that. And just the way that it builds, the way that it floats around, vocals, just it's just a fantastic song. It's one of those songs again. If it was released, a couple of weeks ago, it'd sound as fresh as it did in it was like 85, I think.
Yeah, 85, yeah.
But anyway, it doesn't. It's timeless, really. Like a lot of her stuff is really
great choice. That and it does sound timeless. And I love, as you said, though, I love the fact that young kids get into it. It's just brilliant. Yeah. It's only a good thing. My number 9 is Ginny Jones by The Clash. It's a perfect album. It's a really, really great album. I mean, I could have picked any 3 Clash songs, but Safe European Home is arguably better. London Calling is brilliant, but I've gone with this one because it's
Magnificent Seven.
yeah, which is also great with Norman on bass, of course, and it sets out it sets out the agenda for or the manifesto, sorry, for the Clash. I think this is what we sound like. We're a garage band. This is our sound. This is our style. It's not super polished. It encapsulates what punk rock was all about for me. I mean, I love the drum intro at the beginning's brilliant. You then got Simmons on bass coming in, and then Terry Chimes on drums, of course. And then, of course, Strummer's lyrics are brilliant, a little bit indecipherable at times, which also adds to that mystery and brilliance of it all. And then, of course, Mick Jones's high voice complements him perfectly. It's a perfect song. It's absolutely brilliant. And it's one of those albums that I must have worn the grooves out of the album at the time when I had it. So yeah, Ginny Jones, my number 9, and about a brothel keeper, I believe. I think that's right. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, folks. And they did a song with her as well under the title, under the name of The Lash. So, which I thought was great. So there we go, my number 9, The Clash, Ginny Jones. Ian, what have you got in number 8?
Number 8, I've gone for one I've been listening to a lot recently, and that's one of my favourite jazz artists. But he's gone, he's trying, he's gone into funk, and he's still going strong now. That's Herbie Hancock. The one I was thinking of going with was Chameleon, which is well known. But I've gone for this one instead because it grabs me more, and it's from the Man Child album. It's Hang Up Your Hang Ups, and it's a really funky opener with like engaging patterns and layers. It's all there's all sorts of things happening, and it's exciting music, and it kind of grabs you straight away. The rhythms are superb, and they keep altering them. And he's got a host of guest stars on that album, and Stevie Wonder's on there. James Gadson, who I believe is the drummer. Bill Withers is drummer. But unfortunately, he doesn't tell you who's playing on which tracks. But you can tell when it's Stevie Wonder. I don't think he plays on this one. And Wayne Shorter's on the album as well. But no, it's just a really engaging, exciting track on a great album. Really, really good funk.
Brilliant. I look forward to hearing it because I don't know it. So I'm going to have to check it out. I'm not going to pretend otherwise.
I don't know either, to be fair. So.
But no, I will check it out because I've got a few of the Herbie Hancock albums and some of them are brilliant. I mean, Thrust, that's brilliant. Right, what have we got in at number 8, Peter?
Okay, I'm coming in a bit left field here. A couple of mine are quite left field, but here you go. This is Teenage Whore by Hole from Pretty on the Inside. And this was the whole thing was a defining album for me. I had a lot of friends into the Riot Girl movement thing, and it was just such a triumph of anger over talent, And, I was running a club at that time where we were playing a lot of Riot Girl stuff, and we had quite a lot of hardcore radical lesbians coming in, and they loved it. And, it was just really great fun, and despite the fact that a lot of the songs were, feminist howls, and this to me is kind of the antithesis, the pinnacle of it, just the whole album, Pretty on the Inside, is an absolute disgusting mess. And I love every minute of it. It's exceedingly violent, exceedingly upsetting, and I just think, all of the power women at that time were on that album. Kim Gordon from Sonic Youth, Kat Yellen from Babes in Toyland, Jennifer Finch from L7. Everyone kind of contributed to that album, and they pushed Courtney Love to the front. And so she became a parody and a mess and what have you. But at one point, it was fucking exploding and beautiful. And any album that begins with her screaming "When I was a teenage whore" is instantly going straight into my heart collection. And there's no talent on this album at all. Everyone's playing different songs at different times. Just dreadful. Love it so much. So brilliant.
Have to check it out.
I really, really recommend it. I mean, it shouldn't work, but I am passionate about that album. It is vile.
Brilliant. Rod, what have you got at number 8?
And number 8, I've got "Break On Through to the Other Side" from the Doors, which was one of the greatest debut albums of all time, probably. Just to think, I think it was 67. Did it come out in 67? Anyway, might have been 68, one or the other. But just such a, I don't know, just such a statement of a track to open your debut album with. The keyboards, that sort of keyboard bass, the riff, and then just a sort of the visceral nature of it, really. Of Jim Morrison sort of introduced him. Just if you'd never heard them before, heard the album before, you might just try to think back if it was 68 and you listened to that album, you just put it on and turned up quite loud. You think, what is even going on? Who is this bloke? Who are the new sound? And I just think, and massively influential as well as a song. Whether it's punk or, I know that they had a jazz element as well and a very deep lyricism element. They were punky in attitude, but not in lyricism, for example. So they kind of, I think that's why a lot of people don't like them, because people think they're an arse, for example, a bit in terms of lyricism and stuff. But he was a poet, and they were punks, and they were jazzy, and they were just, in lots of ways, they shouldn't work, really. But they do, and they sound unique. And some of it, and you could argue some of it sounds dated now, and it might a little bit. The keyboard sound might sound a little bit dated to some people because of the production and things like that. But it still sounds unique to me, even now. When you think that's like 50, 60 years ago, you could put it on and you just think that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Even now, 60 years later, it's just fantastic. That again, the whole album is. And a lot of their albums are, right through to LA Woman,
I mean, the Changeling's on my honourable mentions there, but
yeah. I mean, even the Soft Parade, which is, less liked as an album, even that title track and some tracks on that album are fantastic, I think. They were just very talented.
Yep.
And, that's probably the most obvious choice, I suppose, as an opening track.
No, great song. And it is
it's still a great song, yeah.
Very
it's a great song.
Actually. Great song, great choice. Check out our Doors show, folks. Peter and I have a contrast of opinions on certain songs, I think is the phrase.
Yeah, the Doors are like that, though, aren't they? In terms of, everyone's got different favourites, I find, with the Doors, in quite just a sort of polar opposite way in a lot of instances, isn't there?
Yeah, there were actually. Well, we were quite different with our choices.
Yeah, I can imagine. I haven't watched that show. I'll watch it back.
It's
but
quite
I can imagine it would be quite that way.
It's quite funny. My number 8, I've gone with a song that I used to do with Ian, funnily enough. And I've gone with "Mirror in the Bathroom" by The Beat. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. A narcissistic song about staring at yourself. But I mean, it's one of those sad. I'm rubbish at lyrics and remembering lyrics when I play with the band. But it's one of those songs I know all the words to, and I can just sort of reel them all off. It's just brilliant. The musicianship is superb. The guys who of course ended up joining the Fine Young Cannibals are playing bass and guitar. Everett Morton, sorry, on drums is brilliant. I love the drum roll at the beginning. Sax's sax playing on it's really, really cool. And it sums up a period of time for me as well, that sort of Rude Boy two-tone era of 1980 when it came out, with the fantastic "I Just Can't Stop It" album. I mean, there were so many great albums in 1980. It's just ridiculous. And so yeah, I've gone with that just because it meant something to me. There are other albums that maybe have better openers even from that year, but I went with that just because it meant, as a kid, it was something I would just play to death. So yeah, my number 8 was "Mirror in the Bathroom." Ian, what have you got at number 7?
Number 7, I've gone for a track which I'm absolutely obsessed with for the last couple of months. I haven't really played it before very much. So I thought I'm gonna stick it on because I'm playing it all the time. It's Sly and the Family Stone, and it's the song "Underdog" from their first album, which it's a massive opener. This is from 1967, and it seems quite before its time, really, because it's a real protest song. Pretty powerful. The lyrics are brilliant, and it starts with a minor key Frere Jacques on the sax, and then it kind of just slams straight into the funk, and it's just full on. And each line's delivered with the end and a yeah at the end. It's just perfect. It reminds me of Backstabbers, which was like a later song, so I'm sure that I'm just obsessed with it. I can't stop playing it. Whereas I don't think this album is a classic by any means, but this was the one opener where I thought, oh, the album's not really worthy, but the opener is.
Yeah. All right. Good song as well. Good choice, actually. You're breaking up a little bit, but not terribly. So we'll get by, I think. Peter, what have you got in at number 7?
Okay, yeah, we've been up and down the decades a bit, but yeah, bringing us back into the late 60s or early 70s, not sure. Avalanche from Songs of Love and Hate by Leonard Cohen.
Yeah.
And for me, this is that whole album that is the pinnacle of it's the defining thing for Leonard Cohen, for a certain period of Leonard Cohen. When people say, oh, he's dark and miserable, I really think they're mostly talking about, like, every track on this album is dark and miserable, but nothing hits hard like Avalanche, and it was really the song that that got me obsessed with him. And, there's barely any music on the track. It is very minimal and stripped back, but so this one is completely about the lyrics, and the bit that got me is you who wish to conquer pain, you must learn what makes me kind. The crumbs of love that you offer me, they're the crumbs I've left behind. Your pain is no credential here. It's just the shadow of my wound. Yes. Yes. I mean, come on. He is. I know he's a poet first and foremost, and that completely shows it. It just like, wow. Yeah, and he just sounds so utterly broken on this album, and I think it's one of the darkest albums of all time. And yeah, that really is. It's a chilling track, that one. So I love it so much. Avalanche, Leonard Cohen.
It's a great song. If you've never heard it, folks, go and check it. It's class. Rod, what have you got at number 7?
Yeah, I've got one that, in hindsight, is a sad song as well. It's "Solid Air" by John Martin.
Oh, brilliant.
Who, he's an artist that my older brother got me into when I was quite young. I was probably only 13, 14. He used to listen to him quite a lot. And yeah, I like a lot of his stuff, but obviously Nick Drake was a friend of him and Beverly Martin, and Nick Drake lived with them for quite a while, so they're pretty close. And then he wrote this song about him because he knew he was struggling with his mental health. And then obviously he later committed suicide, but he wrote this song purely about Nick Drake's struggles. And it's just a really heartfelt, the guitar playing on it's fantastic, as John Martin's just a unique guitarist anyway, unique vocalist. And it's just looking back, it's a hard hitting song, but it's got this sort of real depth it's folk, sort of jazzy folk, isn't it? But again, probably it's not really a genre. John Martin sort of crosses genres, really. Again, jazz, folk, blues. He sort of fuses those together, really. He's more of a fusion artist, really, isn't he? But yeah, it's just a great song. It's just got a great feel. He's got other songs like Small Hours, and he's got loads of songs that are you can just immerse yourself in them. But that one's quite poignant just because of the Nick Drake aspect. And he was on my long list for Time Was Told Me, which is off his debut album, Five Leaves Left, I think.
Yeah.
The opening track of that I love. But yeah, Solid Air is a song that's been with me and around me for decades, really. So again, it had to be in there somewhere.
Great song, great album, folks. If you've not heard it, go and check it out. It's absolutely brilliant. I mean, I don't want to know about Evil. That's fantastic. Bless the Weather, great album. He's done a load of great albums.
Yeah, One World.
Yeah, superb. So terrific stuff. Great choice. Right, my next one. I'm going full glam here, full glam weird, and I've gone with one that Ian and I went to see recently, and I've gone with Sparks. This town ain't big enough for the both of us. It's just camp, vaudeville, glam, pop, weird. It's just it's outstanding. I mean, Ron Mail wrote it, and he just told Russ he had to sing it in that key, so it's irrespective. And because he said he couldn't transpose it, which I thought was class. It's based upon film cliche in terms of the title, but it's just remarkable. We've seen Sparks. I've seen Sparks 3 times now, and twice with Ian. And it's one of those songs where I think it's one of those rare occasions where I've literally jumped and bounced all the way through the whole song. It's just amazing live, amazing. What a great song. And it's one of those when you first hear it. I first heard it as a kid in '74. I'm watching Top of the Pops, thinking, that's weird. I'm not sure how to take that. And but I really liked it. But there's something unusual about it. Of course, the album Kimono in My House is fantastic. And the girl, of course, one of the girls on the front ends up singing on Scary Monsters. She's the girl who does the voice at the beginning of it on the album. But it's superb. It's a really great and really out there song. And again, it sets out who the band are. That they're not normal. They are just different. And yeah, take them as they are, magnificent. So yeah, this town ain't big enough for the both of us by the magnificent Sparks. Ian, what have you got at number 6?
I'm pleased you did that one because I dropped that one out and I really shouldn't have. Number 6, I've gone with Bruce Springsteen, and I've gone the E Street Shuffle from the second album. Other contender was Thunder Road, which was neck and neck really, but this was the one album that really got me into Bruce Springsteen massively. I'd been kind of listening to him from the Tunnel of Love album, but it was when I first heard this album, that was it. Like I was a Springsteen fan from there on in. And this one's very as it is a shuffle, and it's a big band sound as well. The horns sound fantastic on there. They've got a well structured sound to it. I don't. It's not my favorite song on the album, but it's a great opener. My favorite song on the album is Kitty's Back, but it's a brilliant album. I think it's his best album. And it's an album of storytelling and cramming loads of lyrics into each line. And I love that about it. It's a kind of like a Dylan sort of album, but I like this, and I'm not that keen on Dylan, and
Ron's going to reach down and hit you in a minute, but there you have it.
Yes.
Oh, you froze.
You're frozen, yeah.
Oh, I'm losing it. It must be my bandwidth. It's not very. Yeah.
But we'll.
Or
Ian, we've lost you, so I'm going to jump in and just say it's a great choice.
Sign off there, then I'll.
Yeah, it's a great choice. My favorite song off that album is New York Serenade, but there we have it. It's a fantastic song. Right, a fantastic album. Peter, what have you got at number 6?
Okay, I've gone back out into the left field again. I've got Mladic from Hallelujah Don't Bend Ascend by Godspeed You Black Emperor. And this is a bit of a cheat because, yes, it's an intro track, but it's also half the album. They're clocking in at almost 30 minutes long. And there's not many bands that sort of come back from a hiatus and then release their finest album. And there's not many bands that can surprise me sort of that far into their career, And if you know Godspeed, that post rock wall of sound thing that they do so well, they kind of really define the genre, and they do it better than anyone, in my opinion. And they just it was just surprising to when that album came out. I was like, okay, new Godspeed album, great, fine, got it. And then for it to be their most amazing album and to open in this way, it's everything that is usually in the Godspeed template. It's the multi-layered, quiet, loud kind of wall of sound thing, but it's just so eminently listenable, and you can't always say that about their stuff. Their stuff is, something that really is enjoyed best live, but also in a certain type of mood. Whereas this track is one of their few that is almost getting close to pop, and despite being so long, and I just think it's their finest moment. And it doesn't just set out that album, it sets out the following ones. There was a seismic shift in them from that point, and just obsessed with that. Obsessed with it. There you go.
Great choice. So, Rod, what have you got in number 6?
Yeah, number 6, a bit like John Martin. It's an artist that was around our house a lot when I was quite young, who became a favourite artist of mine. That's Gil Scott-Heron. Pieces of a Man, 1971. The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, which he's called the Godfather of rap, so it's spoken word really, but on the back of he's had some of the best jazz musicians on the album around. Ron Carter on bass, Purdy on drums, and it's got flutes in this sort of bass line that just pounds in the background, and it's like one of the ultimate protest songs, but a lesser known one. If you're a music fan, you know it, but people down the high street wouldn't have a clue who he was. I've seen him live several times when he used to come over here. I've tried to see him whenever he did come over here, and I managed to see him a couple of years before he passed away, which was quite lucky, at Somerset House. It's just sort of genre defining a little bit. He was. He's got a really sort of deep, not in this instance because it's a spoken word, but as an artist, he's got a great singing voice as well. That album's a great album, in my opinion, because it came out the same year as What's Going On, and they're both protest albums, and one's they're very different in the sense that, one's quite mainstream and more polished, I suppose, really, and by an artist that's massive. And then the other one, who's equally respected, probably amongst his peers, but probably sold a fraction of the amount of copies, but is just as good, arguably better, I would say, as an overall album. But the Revolution Revolution Will Not Be Televised is a phrase that's actually been quoted, I think, in numerous other songs. Common has used it, loads of rappers have used it, and it's a reference point really in black music. That track.
It's a great song. I heard it on the radio the other day. Actually, Craig Charles was playing it. Brilliant song, brilliant album, as you say. Really quite jazzy as well. A number of his albums got
very jazzy. Yeah, Lady Day.
Yeah,
Lady Day and John Coltrane.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Yeah, it is a terrific album, actually.
The title track's unbelievably.
It is, though. Totally concur. My number 6. I'm staying glam, folks. I'm staying glam, and I could have went with one of 4 choices, but I've gone with the first one on the first album, and I've gone with Remake Remodel by Roxy Music. I could have went with Strand. Actually, my personal favorite is actually The Thrill of It All, but I've gone with Remake Remodel, just because, again, it sets out the manifesto that this band is not normal. This band is really unusual. They're really sort of bizarre is the line they use at the end of the album, actually, isn't it? And they've got this party atmosphere at the beginning, and then the band kicks in, and it's really strange. It's not typical rock music. The lyrics are about a man looking for a woman. It's about the fact that Ferry's seen this woman and he uses a car registration plate as the sort of chat of line in the CPL 593H, and he keeps repeating it throughout the song. And it is just about being attracted to this lady. But it's such a good song, and the fact that the band, uh, you've got a basic sort of rock tune here, but you've got Brian Eno doing these tonal sort of oscillator things going on, which is really unusual. And then you've got Phil Manzanera not playing chords. He's playing just guitar notes over the top of the tune. But then during the solo bit, he plays chords instead of which is just nuts. You've got the Ride of the Valkyries with Andy Mackay on sax doing that bit. You've got the Day Tripper bass line. It's just brilliant. It is perfection, and it really does tip. I mean, the Strand arguably typifies Roxy a little bit more, but it is just perfect, and it really does make your ears prick up, and you go, right, that's not what I was expecting at all. That is so out there. It's so weird, and just in my opinion, so brilliant. So yeah, I've gone with number 6, Roxy Music remake remodel. Ian, what have we got number 5?
I'm pleased you went for that because I ditched that one as well. Like, and I thought you'd pick it, so I thought we're safe with that. Well, this is the second snap with Rod. It's Gil Scott Heron. The revolution will not be televised for all the reasons you said, and as you say, the jazz track in the background so cool. It's a phenomenal song, and it kind of makes the hairs on your neck stand up. Like I was at the pictures last night, and it was quite bizarre because this song came on, and that I'm thinking, bloody hell, I'm doing this show tomorrow, and it's on so many film soundtracks. This one was a Leonardo DiCaprio film, One Battle After Another. That was a great film, but this really sort of stood out at the point that this was played. So I'll not say any more about that because you've already spoken about that. But yes,
Peter, what have you got at number 5?
Well, tying in with the film theme, I've got Just Like Honey from Psycho Candy by Jesus and Mary Chain. I mean, what a way to open an album, one of the most beautiful songs ever written. And it starts with the lifting the drums from Be My Baby, Ronettes, and then just goes straight into the typical Mary Chain wall of sound, the feedback and what have you. But for all of the noise of the Mary Chain, it retains its fragility, and it's just so incredibly beautiful. And I remember I went to see Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation, and right at the end of that, when you don't quite know what's happened in the film and how it is ending, it's just that track kicks in, and I have never heard a track so well placed in the film. It's just so beautiful and heartbreaking. And I just, again, Psycho Candy was one of those albums I'd never heard anything else like it. I've got quite a lot of those on my list, those defining moments. And this was certainly one of them, and funnily enough, Just Like Honey, it like doesn't necessarily sum up the rest of the album because it's really one of the only fragile tracks on there. The rest of them are just pure fucking noise. But it does really, it leads you by the hand into the album and then throws you in, so yeah, stunning. Just Like Honey.
Good choice. Rod, what have you got at number 5?
And number 5, I've got Holidays in the Sun.
Oh, please, you said that because I've took it off my list.
Well, I had to. When I was it came out in '77, but probably in 1978, just round mates' houses, we just played the album between us just daily. It's just part of my DNA that album, the Clash's debut album. A year or so later, The Crack by the Ruts. There's certain albums that we just played to death, but the Pistols was the first one that when we were like 14, 15, we just thought we just bought in like full on, and it's a great opener. You know that the whole marching sound, and then when the drums come in, if you play it, put on full bung like now, it still sounds. It's just like it's just proper, just in your face start to an album, and it's a great album. It's well produced. It's actually really heavy, isn't it? I mean, I know it's punk, but some of the riffs are like it's pretty heavy, isn't it, all the way
Yeah.
through, and that it sets a stall out, I think, really well for that album. And like I say, because it's just part of me, it just had to be in there, simple as that. And I still play it now. I do still play it now.
Play it all the time.
Much to my wife's chagrin, or whatever the term is.
Yeah.
She's not so fond of it, to be honest.
Especially when Bodies comes on.
Yeah, when it reaches Bodies, she probably
Which
goes
is the
out
next
shopping.
track.
Yeah.
I was playing it the other day, the album. It's absolutely brilliant. I do play it regularly. But I was reading just a couple of days ago, funnily enough, that Paul Weller and Sid Vicious had a fight over it, didn't they? Because he claimed that they'd nicked the In the City riff for Holidays in the Sun.
Oh, right.
Apparently, Weller thumped him. But if you listen to In the City and you listen to the Who song In the City, you can tell where they borrowed their idea from.
Yeah, but Holidays in the Sun pisses all over In the City.
It's
so
great.
Weller can sod off.
It's a
great
song. Great song. Brilliant. I'm so pleased you picked it. My number 5 is I've gone with the Bush of the Cape variety, and I've gone with Sat in Your Lap from an incredible album.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant. She's aspiring for knowledge, which is just about somebody who's aspiring for knowledge but too lazy to sort of go and find it. Influenced, I mentioned on one of the other shows on the Kate Bush Top 10. Influenced by Stevie Wonder, which was a real surprise to me. It's definitely got Siouxsie and the Banshees vibes to it. I mean, the drumming's right out of the budgie school of drumming, and it's absolutely sensational. I mean, the song is intense, it's claustrophobic. It's just all out there. And also, of course, off an incredible album, The Dreaming, which is remarkable. It's one of those albums I got Ian for his birthday. And I remember you saying, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. And then all of a sudden your brand goes up and goes, oh my God, it's amazing. I think but it takes a few listens to sink in, doesn't it? But yeah, what a great way to kick off an album as well, though. It's absolutely outstanding. None of the albums like that apart from that track, which is so bit of a sort of misread in some respects. But yeah, number 5 for me, Sat in the Lap, Kate Bush, brilliant. Ian, what have you got number 4?
Number 4, I've gone with my favourite soul singer, which is Al Green, and it's Let's Stay Together. It's not his best album, but it's probably his best song. It's really well known. He's just got that sound. He's got his own sound. You know, it's an Al Green song. He's got the driving drums, the horns, and the like arpeggiated guitar. And when he sings, it's quite intimate. He sounds very fragile, but he's got such a lovely voice. And this is this song is genius, and I first heard it on an advert, and it was the days before the internet, and it was a few years before I heard it again. So I was like, who's that? But I didn't find out for a few years. But I absolutely love Al Green, and yeah, it's up there with the greatest soul songs ever.
Yeah, great choice. You can't beat the Reverend Al. You saw him, you?
I did. Albert Hall.
Yeah, envious about that one.
Still got it.
Peter, what have you got at number 4?
Okay, I'm just regretting putting this at number 4. It should have been number 2, but we are where we are. This is one of the greatest songs ever written. I loved it so much. I had it tattooed on my hand. It's Janitor of Lunacy. It's Nico from Desert Shore. I mean, she sounds so fantastic on this whole album. And again, one of those things, I'd never heard anything like it. It was my first Nico album after the Velvet Underground. and I just couldn't believe what I was hearing. This mad harmonium and this Teutonic female baritone. I'm like, what on God's green earth? Where are we? We're not somewhere that I recognise. And yeah, just changed my life, And I didn't know until recently that it was about Brian Jones, but there you go. Yeah, just such an incredible song. And Throbbing Gristle, when they reformed, they did they remade the whole album with guest vocalists, and Anony was singing this one, and I was like, oh yes, Anony doing Janitor of Lunacy. But it was actually a real disappointment. It's so heavily Nico's song, and without that drawl, without that just from the edge of the grave delivery, it just gets lost, and yeah, but just so incredibly stunning. Yeah, Janitor of Lunacy from Desert Shore by Nico, number 4.
Brilliant. Good choice. What have you got at number 4, Rod?
Yeah, number 4, I've got Shine On You Crazy Diamond, parts 1 to 5.
Yeah.
I didn't really get into Floyd because I was into punk and stuff. I didn't really get into Floyd till I was older, and then realised what a twat I was. Really, because you can't deny that in terms of pacing of songs, like build different certain techniques like pacing, patience, build, transitions. They're on a different level to almost anybody, in my opinion. And that particular song, it's got the poignancy of the Syd Barrett thing, because once the lyrics come in at the end, it's all written specifically for him, and it's almost like they meticulously put this thing together, from the heart, really. So it's got this sort of added poignancy, I think, in that sense, and along with Echoes, which is another unbelievable, composition. Really, they're just ace dogs off Animals. They've got some tracks that are like 15 minutes plus that are they're undeniable. And Dogs, I'm just digressing a little bit, but something like Dogs is a bit like, it came out the same year as The Clash. I always think it's quite interesting. You can have Dogs and White Riot, which are basically saying the same thing. One's a minute and a half long, one's 17 minutes long. They're both as visceral and as sort of urgent and as protesty as each other.
Well, I think I said on the Pink Floyd show, didn't I, that I thought...
Yeah, and they couldn't be more contrasting. Two ways of doing something, like an erudite, middle-class, ridiculously skilled way of doing it, or an in-your-face, sod off, I don't give a shit way of doing it. But they're technically the same song.
Yeah.
And Shine On You Crazy Diamond, I think, looking at all their openers anyway, is just a great song on my favourite album of theirs as well. As an album, they've got lots of great albums, but on the Pink Floyd show, that was my number 1. Yeah. Although it does fluctuate around a little bit for different people. But,
I think it was mine, but it could be one of 3 on a given day.
Yeah, one of 3. Their top 3 kind of rotate a bit.
But yeah.
I just think, notwithstanding Roger Waters being a bit of a twat now, they are undeniably fantastic. And I got to them quite late, and and that's how much I've got into them, I suppose, and immersed myself into them. The fact that I've got songs that are number 4 in the greatest opener of all time, even though I didn't listen to them until quite late, really.
Well, my number 4 is the first album that I got into with jazz, and I've gone with So What by Miles Davis, and I've told the story many times on the show, much to Ian's. A girl used to come in the shop called Ruth and used to record me Miles Davis albums on cassette, and I used to play them to death. But the first one she did for me was and she was right, actually, because Kind of Blue is the most accessible album to get into to start with if you've never really got into jazz. And I just heard it and I just thought, wow, like modal jazz is really my thing. What a lineup: Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Paul Chambers on the iconic opening bass line, and Jimmy Cobb on drums. And it's the best version because they do a load of speeded up versions later on when he's with the band. I'm not a big fan of the speed.
Yeah, I agree. The speeded up one's crap.
Yeah, I like all the space and all of that. It's just remarkable, and Cannonball Adderleaf as well, of course. Adderleaf, which I forgot. Uh, Remarkable song. It is iconic. Everybody knows it. Even if you're not into jazz, you put it on, and it's one of them people that people just all know because it's played to death. And it's the only jazz album as well that ever appears in the greatest albums of all time, and it gets in at number 20 or something, and you can see why because it's remarkable. He's done better albums, but it is remarkable and it is a great, great opening track. So yeah, So What is my number 4, Miles Davis. Um, Ian, what have you got number 3?
Number 3, I've gone with the Ramones' first album, Blitzkrieg Bop. Bang! There we have it.
Yeah.
This is what we're all about. It got me into the Ramones. This is another one I got obsessed with, and as soon as the first time I heard it, I thought, this is it. This is the future. This is what I want to be listening to from now on. And it's never left me. It's probably their best song. But I think, Sid, you were saying that when they released their albums, they were released. The first 3 albums were released in.
They were released chronologically, so I believe that might be the first song they ever wrote. But the album, but the albums were released chronologically in terms of the batch of songs that they'd written. So yeah,
That makes a lot of
they
sense
already
now.
had all those 3 albums, songs already done, but they in terms of practiced them, but they recorded them in order. So yeah,
So that makes sense, and that's why all 3 albums are as good as each other, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll never tire of listening to this. It's although I agree with Peter that the live version's better, but that's not the opening track on the live on It's Alive. So I've gone with this one on the first album.
But go and check our Ramones show, folks. It is without a doubt the funniest show that we've done so far.
I've seen them live. I've seen them live in
Yeah, we saw
79.
them twice. Yeah, just laughed all
79,
the
I
way
think.
through it. They're brilliant. They were
Yeah.
brilliant, should I say? But yeah, great choice. I'm pleased. I thought you would pick that, so I didn't bother picking the Ramones. And of course, we mentioned on our show, Newcastle United just about come out to that as well every week, don't they?
Yeah.
Beforehand, which is
Actually, after listening to the Ramones, I got into them before the Pistols. I was always a bit disappointed with them. Never mind the bollocks. After listening to the Ramones,
because how slow
because
it
it
is.
was just it would just seem too slow for me.
Yeah, the Dams were close at the Ramones in terms of speed, weren't they? I think. But yeah,
absolutely.
Peter, what have you got at number 3? Great choice, though, obviously.
Funnily enough, I did contemplate putting Neat on my list.
Great song.
Yeah.
But it didn't make it in the end. My number 3 is Ladies and Gentlemen, We Are Floating in Space, from Ladies and Gentlemen, We Are Floating in Space by Spiritualized. The weird thing about this track is that when it first came out, I wasn't that enamored because there was something missing from it. What happened was they'd sampled Elvis and hadn't got clearance for the track and had to remove it, destroy the copies that were printed, and then repress without the sample. And so it came out in its unfinished form, which is really weird. And then it took God knows how many years to clear it. And then eventually the proper thing came out with it intact, with the Elvis quote intact. And it really is, this song is even more beautiful, in my opinion, than Just Like Honey by the Mary Chain. It's so fragile and so layered. I mean, basically the song is one loop of Jason singing "All I Want in Life's a Little Bit of Love to Take the Pain Away," and it's just like that one lyric, and then layered over it is the choir and this Elvis sample, and it just builds and builds and builds. It's so incredibly stunningly beautiful, and it is such a great way to open the album, although it doesn't necessarily tell you what's coming down the pipe with their album, because nothing could with that album. That Yeah, it's just a perfect slice of broken-hearted dream pop, and yeah, stunning. And when they do it live, they cut out all the music at the end, and like the last minute and a half is just Jason and the choir, and it just sends chills through you. Stunning, ladies and gentlemen, we're floating in space. Check it out.
Great choice. Good band as well, actually. But yeah, good choice. Like it. Number three, Rod, what have you got?
Yeah, number three. I've got my favourite band at number three. They've got a few openers that I like. 2+2=5. Airbag. 15 Step even. But everything in its right place. Love it. Loved it right from the get-go. And to go from sort of like Creep to Just to even like OK Computer, arguably, and then the first track on the very next album, Sound Like That, was
Yeah.
just as bold as you could get by anybody almost. But it's and it's sort of dissonant. It's a little bit sort of disconcerting. It's a bit eerie, but it's really warm as well. And those sort of repetitive lyrics. And it's just the way it's constructed. It's just brilliant, I think. And I just think Tom York, you know, from from OK Computer on, I think probably the Bends is a good album, but OK Computer onwards, they've become one of the best bands the UK has ever produced, in my opinion.
Absolutely
Including the
agree.
Beatles.
Absolutely agree.
They're on that level to me. That's why they're my favorite band. I just think their arrangements and their how 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 experimental they are and stuff, and again, going back to that thing I was saying earlier about being mainstream and having mainstream hits in inverted commas and selling tons of albums and filling arenas, but also being seen as, critically acclaimed at the highest level across almost all our albums. I haven't had a dud really since Pablo Honey as an album, and even A Moon-Shaped Pool was a great way to go out if that is their last album, which it probably is or
You never
was.
know now that they're touring again. So
No, exactly, but they are going to be playing. I'm not sure there's new material, but I tried to get tickets. I didn't get any. I was a bit gutted about that, but I have seen them several times already. But yeah, everything's in its right place. It's just, and it is kind of a perfect opener. The album's a great album, but it's a great opening track to that album. Going
yeah,
back to
Kitty
what we
is a
said at
great
the
album and
start,
a really brave album.
a very brave album that
Yeah.
works. There's so many great tracks on it. Motion Picture soundtrack, How to Disappear Completely, but that track's a really good opener on what is a great album. So going back to what we were saying earlier about it doesn't have to be a great album, but in my opinion, that is a great opening track on a great album.
It is
by a great band.
It is. Go and check our Radiohead show out as well. It features very highly. My number three, I'm gone back to punk rock, folks, and I've gone for the sort of beginnings, if you like. I've gone with Iggy and the Stooges, and I've gone with Search and Destroy, from the fantastic Raw Power album. I mean, the mix is absolutely atrocious. It's so bad. I mean, the David Bowie mix, which I think he just chucked a microphone in the room, or they didn't mic the things properly, but it was awful. But it still works. And then the Iggy mix, which he did with Bruce Dickinson, where they just turned everything up to the top and everything's in the red. Surely they can go in and remix it now with the technology where you can do all the separation of tracks and come up with an incredible sounding album. But maybe the appeal is the garage sound. But it's an incredible opener. It's got the greatest opening line of all time, in my opinion. I'm a streetwalking cheetah with a handful of napalm. I think that's amazing. My old blues band were originally called the Streetwalking Cheetahs, and then we just end up as the Cheetahs. But I just think it's great. It tells you exactly what you're going to expect on the album when it just kicks in. It starts off really heavy with the Ashton brothers on bass and drums. And then all of a sudden, James Williamson just comes in with this super top end guitar, so high in the mix, but also so high in terms of cutting through with trebly. And you think, whoa, what the hell's that? And it's brilliant. It's so, as I say, it's so badly mixed, but it's brilliant. It's really hardcore punk rock at its very, very best. Unrelenting, amazing, often amazing album. We had the fortune of seeing them as well, doing that whole album at the Hammersmith Odeon as well, didn't we, Ian?
It was great.
Iggy had been in the papers 2 days earlier. Oh, my stage diving days are over. and then second or third song, he's in the crowd, surfing through the crowd, and it was probably the most incendiary 10 songs to start with that they did. They did that in a couple of bonuses, and before the other tracks from the time, such as I've Got It Right, which is amazing. That I think I've maybe ever seen live. It was just so out and aggressive. It was unbelievable. So yeah, Iggy and the Stooges, Search and Destroy, brilliant. Ian, what have you got number two?
Number two, I'm going to go cover all ground. I've gone for Miles Davis, So What,
Oh,
which is your good self. A timeless classic. Starting off with the haunting piano of Bill Evans and the iconic bass line, which is what there's not many songs which the double bass leads the tune. It's the double bass that plays the tune, really. But as you say, Sid, it's the one to get into. It's you know it defies genre. It's not. It's yes, it's jazz, but it's jazz. It's so easily accessible, and anyone can enjoy it. It's even though it's played, it's overplayed, but not to the extent where you're sick of it. Um, Probably because it doesn't get overplayed on radio. But yeah, it's iconic, and it's got so many geniuses on the one album at the height of this was 1959, wasn't it? And at the
yes.
height of the kind of second wave of jazz, I suppose, with John Coltrane, with his darkness, and Cannonball Adderley, who's like a kid on loose Smarties, who is very gospely. So there's two saxes on there, but they're both very, very different to each other. But I love Bill Evans' piano, and
Yeah.
obviously the space Miles Davis creates. He just doesn't overdo anything. So yeah, that's my number two.
All right, it's currently winning then by the looks of it. Peter, what have you got at number two?
Okay, I have got Gloria from Horses by Patti Smith, which is maybe a bit of an obvious choice for me. But again, song changed my life. Opening it with "Jesus died for somebody's sins, but not mine." Fucking classic. I used to have a T-shirt with that on from a Pride march I went on years ago. One of the first Pride marches I went on, they were selling T-shirts with pink triangle on with that in. So yeah, that became a bit of a queer rally cry, and yeah, from that point on, I'm just straight into it, and discovering Patti Smith was one of the great joys of my life. It is the best way to open an amazing album. Um, there's very little of the original Van Morrison track left. I know it's a bit strange putting a cover version in there, but I think this is so far. I know you're not keen, Sid. I know you're
No,
not
I've
keen.
listened to it more recently. I mean, Easter's my favorite album by her, but I have listened to it more recently, and I'm getting in more into it, I think is the phrase.
Easter
I
is
don't hate it
Easter.
anymore.
Easter is my favorite
Yeah.
Patti Smith album, but this is my favorite opening, almost my favorite all-time opening track. And it's the third one on here produced by John Cale,
Yeah.
which is so yeah, I probably love John Cale more than I realized. But yeah, just again, just feminist fucking icon. She was way, way, way ahead of her time. So yeah,
Brilliant.
Patti Smith, Gloria.
Great choice. Rod, what have you got at number two?
I've got the mainstream version of Gil Scott Heron really at number two. I've got What's Going On by Marvin Gaye in the sense that although it's a really well-known song and it might be overplayed, but at the same time, it's just a fantastically written, heartfelt protest song, which just stands the test of time, really, I suppose. The arrangement's great. He's a great vocalist, just per se, isn't he? And yeah, he's like the sort of accessible version of Gil Scott-Heron and Sly and the Family Stone, I suppose. Curtis Mayfield, arguably as well.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of artists around at that time who all great singers, great songwriters, and obviously because of the political climate of that time, there was a lot of people writing similar stuff. And just because he was the most successful, I suppose, and the biggest and the most well known and the most played, it doesn't take away from the fact that that album's a seminal album, still is. Inner City Blues is probably my favourite track on the album, probably. Lyrically the strongest, maybe. But What's Going On still, it's a great album, and it's a title track, and it's, like I said, it stands the test of time, I think, for me.
Yeah.
That's why there.
He's possibly my favourite soul singer. It depends on what you class as soul as well, because Ray Charles is the other one, and Aretha. Obviously, Aretha would always win, but it's
Sam Cooke and Otis Redding would be up there for me, probably.
It's really hard. He was so gifted. I mean,
and Ron Isley, sorry.
Let's Get It On was the other one for me. That almost made it, like, because it's an album. I absolutely adore that album. I think it's both incredible albums, by the way, both very different. Obviously, one's his sort of sex album, and one's his sort of, as you say, social conscience album, which is sadly, it's stood the test of time because all the themes are still absolutely relevant.
Yeah,
but
sadly,
but it's brilliant, great choice. What a great choice. My number two, I'm still going full on, all out. This is possibly the fastest song that's been picked so far, and I've gone with the Ace of Spades by Motorhead. So it's brilliant, man. What can you say? It's got multiple meanings, like living life to the full. Maybe it's about wanting a girl, or the irony of life not being great for some people, or irony of luck. But it's just 100 miles an hour. It's accessible, of course. Everybody knows it. Your kids love it and everything. It's such a catchy tune. It was this or Overkill, actually. I love Overkill as well, which I think is remarkable. And the musicianship's fantastic. Fast Eddie's brilliant on guitar. Filthy Animal is brilliant on drums. The Animal Taylor's just brilliant. I love when you do the guitar solo and at the end, and it just rolls into on Filthy Animals hitting the sort of the rim shot really, really fast, and then it just comes back in at a million miles an hour. It's just one of them. How can you not love the Ace of Spades? It's people forget it's the opening track. Opening track on a great album, and again, Overkill's a better album, but Ace of Spades is a great album. It's a terrific album. But Ace of Spades, Motorhead. Just brilliant. Come on. What do you want, man? Number one, Ian, what have you got?
I overlooked the Ace of Spades, During all this, I was like listing bands, and I'll have to check every single album of these bands just to make sure I haven't missed anything. Like, I missed that one. Number one, I've gone for The Who. There was a few, there's a couple of albums I could have gone for, but I've gone for the Live at Leeds, the original release, Young Man Blues.
Yeah.
This is just pure rock and roll balls. It's just sheer power and improvisation as well. It's a blues track by Mose Allison, but it's an entirely different song when the Who get hold of it. And you kind of go on a bit of a musical. It's not long. It's not long enough. That's the only thing. Not like their version of My Generation at the end of the album, which is superb. The power chords and the riffs, just Townsend seems to nail. He's not the best guitarist, but at what he does, he probably is the best at at the sort of guitar playing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but when they were at their peak, I think this was their peak, like 1970.
Yeah, between 69 and 74, I would say the 75, 76, the peak. Yeah,
but this was when they were really doing their kind of just improv musical journeys and just bouncing off each other. And it's quite hypnotic as well. You just get lost in it. But it's the raw power, and that you just want to play the drums and air guitar when you listen to this. It's just turn it up to 11. It's they all play their part, each musician, and Daltrey's probably the least talented one, but his singing on top of this, it's just like
Brilliant.
pretty guttural, and it just goes with it superbly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number one.
Yeah, check out our live album. Sure, I'll tell you now, it comes out as my favorite live album. I think the greatest live band of all time, in my opinion. But there we have it. Great choice, great choice. I looked at Barbara O'Reilly and I was sick of playing it, so I've
Yeah, that was the other one.
yeah, sick of playing it, so I've moved it down. So there we have it. Peter, what have you got at number one?
Number one, I have got possibly the greatest song of all time, is The Mercy Seat from Tender Prey by Nick Cave. Or Nick Cave and the Bad Seed, should I say. And, I mean, what can I say about this song? It is the perfect song. You know, it's the perfect Bad Seeds lineup. I loved the whole Blixabargeld years. Those were my years, really, of the Bad Seeds. Still love him now. But that was the time that I was really like at my most with him. And I've seen him perform this song in excess of 50 times, and every time just about it's different. It's certainly different on every tour. I've seen it so many more than 50 times. Yeah, whatever. And I've seen him do it I've seen him do the dirty fast 3.5 minute version, and I've seen him do a 17-minute version just at the piano with Warren on guitar, layering it up. And yeah, however this thing comes, it cannot be diminished. It's a song of such intense power. And if you don't know it, it's the Mercy Seat is the electric chair. It's a man going to the electric chair, and the whole thing is, but I told the truth. He's going through all the things that he's been accused of, and I told the truth. I told the truth. I told the truth. And it really is just, it's just astonishing. If you play the whole Tender Prey is not my favorite Nick Cave album. It is a great album. It's a couple of tracks on there that are not, maybe so much, but just I played it again on repeat, and nothing over the years has taken the power out of this song. The pounding drums, the throbbing fucking bass, and the absolute dread that runs through this track. Right up to the point where he's executed at the end, and he says, "I'm afraid I told a lie." It's just fucking awesome. I mean, this is Cave at his absolute finest. And yeah, I could whittle on about this for hours and hours and hours. And I think if we ever get round to doing a Nick Cave show, I'm not going to be able to keep that one short. Because, yeah, I could talk about this man for 1,000 years and still not have said all that I want to say. So I'm just going to wrap it up and say, God bless Nick Cave.
Great choice. He did a long version when I seen him last, actually. So it might have been that one because it was just as a duo. Brilliant. Great choice. Rob, what have you got at number one?
I'm going to annoy Ian, I think, by picking Bob Dylan. I think he's one of the best songwriters of all time, in my opinion. One of the best lyricists of all time, along with Leonard Cohen and a few others. But yeah, I just think like a Rolling Stone is, again, it's a song that everyone's heard a million times, but it was a transition from the early stuff, the early folky, out and out folky, freewheeling sort of folky stuff to that electric sort of crossover thing. And he just sort of nailed it really with that song. I think, they're great. It's great lyrics. It's great storytelling, and it's more the sort of the sort of the timbre of his voice and the pacing and the way he accentuates at the end, the end of lines and things, and the way it soars. It's just got so many things that make it a great song. And him and the Beatles were sort of influencing. I remember reading somewhere that "You've Got to Hide Your Love Away" was written by John Lennon after hearing, Bob Dylan's most recent stuff, and he had really admired them because he couldn't believe that they were writing as many great songs in such short spaces of times and things. And there's a lot of influences, a lot of sort of that kind of mutual respect thing going on with Beach Boys, a lot of competition around that time. But in his wheelhouse, he sort of reigned supreme, I think. And like a Rolling Stones, probably he's got loads of great songs, but that's an opening track, and it's an opening track from was it 65? It's a long time ago anyway, but it's mad good, still is, I think. I watched them A Complete Unknown recently.
Good, isn't it?
I enjoyed it. I was a little bit skeptical because I thought it might just be a little bit sort of naff and a little bit, will they do hymn justice or the whole kind of subject matter justice? But Timothy Chalamet was really good, and I thought the whole feel of it was. I don't know if everyone's seen it. Have you seen it, Peter? Have you?
Yes.
Yeah. I was really surprised how good it was. And anyone who
well.
hasn't seen it, I'd definitely say watch it.
I thought it was going to be a gimmick. I just thought that, because I do love Dylan as well.
Yeah.
And I did think it would be a bit of a gimmick, but I was surprised at
my expectations were low. And it massively exceeded them.
Yeah.
So, it's really good.
Yeah, it wasn't cliched or anything at all, and I can't remember who it is that plays Pete Seeger. It was just incredible.
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, he was good, wasn't he? Yeah, I can't remember his name either. But yeah, there's a lot of good performances.
It was Ed Norton.
Yeah, it was Ed Norton. Yeah, well remembered. Yeah, it was a really good film.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my number one.
There we go. We get a great track and a film review thrown in there.
Or film recommendation, anyway.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great song. I remember the Stones did a good version of it as well once. So I was really quite impressed by it because it's such a hard one to nail properly. Right, well, my number one is my favorite artist, and I've gone with Station to Station by David Bowie. I think it's just fantastic. It's a crazy song. I don't know how long it is, but it's long, but it's just mental. I know it was one of his favorites as well. I remember mentioning it a few times how much he actually enjoyed the song, although he couldn't remember recording it apparently because he was so off it on drugs. The whole album, wasn't he? But it's got references to like religion, like Kabbalah, Judaism, sort of Christianity. It's got references to the occult. It's got references to tantric sex. So there's loads of sort of odd sort of things within it and symbolism. But I don't really want to know the whole meaning of the song. I just want to enjoy the song and then sing along and enjoy the whole sort of mood and the vibe within it. And it'll take your own interpretation away from it, which is what I prefer to do in most songs. There's some songs where they hit you over the head and really obvious, but this one allows you to have interpretation. And it really is a crossover song as well. It's gone from that sort of young American sound pretty low, and it's sort of just going into that Berlin sort of sound because it's got that austere sort of European sound to it as well. And you obviously references the European canon and all the rest of it, but it's got all that it's got all that feeling. You've got little bits of Noi in it. You've got a bit of Tangerine Dream, but you've also got like Chuck Berry and the Rolling Stones in it as well. And I just love the whole build up. It starts up with the sound of a train, which Bowie said it's meant to represent the Stations of the Cross at the beginning, which who knew? But but it sort of is an indicator of the Berlin sort of era that's just about to appear or just round the corner. And I think it's incredible. It might well be my favorite David Bowie song as well. It's hard to pick a favorite song, but it might well be this one. It just does everything that I want in a song. It's great vocals. His vocals are unreal. It's great song. It's really catchy. It's got different tempo changes in it. Got a different vibe going throughout the song. I think it's absolute perfection. I really do. Hence the fact it's my number one. It was always going to be my number one. But although Ace of Spades pushes it close, but yeah, there we go. My number one, Station to Station. So before we go into let us know what your choices are, folks, let's just whiz through some very quick references to songs without going into details about them. Otherwise, we'll be here all year. Ian, what honourable mentions have you got there?
Mustafa by Queen.
One of mine, yeah, go on.
Whole Lot of Love, which I love it, but I was convinced somebody else would pick it. So Wake Up and Make Love with me.
That was one of mine, yeah.
Home Wrecker, Nick Lowe.
Brilliant.
The Things That Dreams Are Made Of, the Human League.
Yeah.
First of the Gang, Morrissey. My Baby Gives It Away, Pete Townsend. He's the Greatest Dancer, Sister Sledge.
Classic.
In Precious by the Pretenders.
Yeah. Yeah, great choices. Peter, how about yourself?
I got Safe European Home. I thought, no, I'm not going to. I got Iron Lady by Diana Gallus. I got You Are the Reflection of the Moon on the Water by Grant Hart. Dream Machine by The God Machine. Untitled by Interpol. These Important Years by Husker Du. And One Called Wonders by The Adverts.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. Good choices there. How about yourself, Rod?
Yeah, from memory, on the punk front, I mentioned earlier, Babylon's Burning would be one by the Ruts for me. Also, the Clash ones we mentioned, London Calling, Magnificent Seven, Safe European Home. They had a lot of good openers at Clash. Deftones, another band, more recent band I really love. My Own Summer Shove It, Around the Fur. Great riff.
I was sat next to them on the plane about 2 months ago. I was sat next to the drummer having a conversation. Well, we're a lovely guy, yeah.
Flying over here.
Flying from Portugal, bizarrely.
Right.
Portugal.
Yeah, that's a great song. I like. And then in total contrast, Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell.
Yeah.
It's just a fantastically structured song, great vocals, just memorable. Who's That Lady by the Isley Brothers? The full 8-minute version, with half of it's a guitar solo by Ernie Isley. That's just a fantastic track as well. I'm just doing it from memory again now, but yeah, that'd be some of them. I've forgotten some of the others, but a couple of Zeppelin ones. I love Immigrant Song probably as well.
Yes. Yeah.
That wailing Banshee thing. War Pigs. Off Paranoid. It's a classic song, I suppose, again, isn't it? Barbara O'Reilly.
Yeah.
I had a lot of them all written down, but
yeah, some great choices. I mean, I removed like Barbara O'Reilly or Black Sabbath or whatever just because of the fact that they're all played too often. Even though they're amazing songs, like I've got We Will Rock You, Mustafa I've got written down by Queen, which is a mad song. Gimme Shelter. Holidays in the Sun I've got written. Suspect Device. Same as Ian, a couple of the others there, the Ian Jury one, Make Up. I've got Dog Eat Dog, Let's Go Crazy by Prince. Family Entertainment by The Undertones, Rough Boys by Pete Townsend, Brown Sugar. So some really big obvious ones as well, but you just get sick of hearing them all. So I just thought, I've heard them a million.
Purple Haze.
Yeah.
Purple Haze. I forgot about that.
So there we go, folks. There's some really great songs there. We've avoided some real obvious ones in some ways, but we've picked some absolute belters, by the way. Some really nice unusual choices. I love Avalanche. That's a class choice. Some really, really great choices there. So send in your lists. Let us know what you think of the show. Okay, until next time, folks. Take care. Bye-bye. From Ian, Peter.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.